Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast. This is episode 61. It's been a bit. I have a lot to catch up everyone on. A lot of cool games have dropped recently that I haven't talked about. Games that I would normally talk about on this channel, like an Evil Dead game, like a Ninja Turtles game, and like a Sonic game, although the Sonic game just came out, so this is kind of good timing. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of jump into each of those, maybe talk about some random game news, if there's some of that. Yeah, actually, let me start real quick. Giant Bomb, if you guys are familiar with Giant Bomb, that's been a staple in I guess the cool video game journalists, I guess if you call it, Jeff Gerstmann. He was with GameSpot, and there was a time where he left or was fired, I forget what, due to a controversial rating on a game because they got paid to rate a game a certain way. He left, started Giant Bomb. That had been successful for so long, and still are, even though he'd left, started his own thing, and then they have new faces over at Giant Bomb, and so Giant Bomb seems like it's better than ever, and then Jeff Gerstmann has his own thing, so that's just like extra content for everybody. So why am I doing this? Yeah, I know, but really it's, I watch all these video game I listen to all these video game podcasts. Actually, they're on YouTube, so technically you'd be watching them, but I'm listening to them because I'm usually working. And there's a time where I am so happy about video games, and that there's not a live stream or podcast, and that's on Fridays at I guess early evening, late afternoon. What would you call that? I mean, there's ACG. That streams during the day, and that's a pretty good one too. And then when that's over, I'm, needing something more to listen to. So that's why I wanted to do it here because, look, I have my full-time job or my main income job, I guess you'd call it, because I treat the content creation as a full-time thing. But when my Friday is here and my work week is over, not only am I tired, but on the flip side, I also seem to have energy and excitement of like, hey, my work is done. I can just do whatever, play with my toys, video games, Gundam, whatever. So I think this is a perfect time for me to be excited to talk about video games, really. I wanted to get back on doing this. I see these content creators out there doing their thing, and it's just to complement that, be a part of all that. I miss talking about video games all the time. And, my other channel, Gundam Explained, which has been very successful for me, has helped me reframe how I would do this show. Because this was my original podcast. I started in 2006 or 7, about maybe 2007. I forget when it was exactly, but it was just always off and on. I've said it many times, and there's a lot here that that are subscribed that have been here since the beginning. The time where I was at a radio show and all that, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, so, again, the news about Giant Bomb is pretty interesting. Check their stuff out. It's pretty cool. It motivates me, inspires me to keep doing more. But let's talk about some video game stuff, specifically. And I don't really have too much content to share, but just so there's something to look at. Screenshots of Evil Dead the game. So this Evil Dead game, I actually haven't been playing it a lot recently because other games have come out, but this is a really good game. And it's mainly multiplayer. Now, it does have a single-player aspect to it. Okay, so that's always scary when it says device disconnected. But I will ignore that because everything seems fine. Yeah, everything seems fine. So, the Evil Dead has a single-player component to it that I've beaten it, and that was fun. But I feel like that's what they should have fleshed out into the main game. The multiplayer is fun. Don't get me wrong. But the way they had the single-player, it's almost like a demo for like a full open-world Evil Dead game. And the multiplayer is fun. Like I was saying, it's hard for me to play one type of multiplayer game over and over. I usually have to cycle through it. That happens to me with Gundam Battle Operation 2. I tend to play multiplayer games in chunks that I would be playing maybe a single player and then kind of move on. But the Evil Dead is getting the Castle Kandar map that's from Army of Darkness, which is I would say it's my favorite of the series. And just more DLC is awesome. There's going to be another mode too, more of a horde mode, which would get me to play a lot more than the demon mode. Like I said, like it's a fun game and it's really good, but the repetition of doing the 4 survivors versus the demon kind of gets old after a while. So having more maps and having that survival mode, I think, is really what this game needs. But the single player missions are so fun, and there's more actually that's coming out. In fact, I know at least one more. If you're in the menu of the game, when you beat all the single player missions, there's another one that's available. Well, it's not available. There's one that's in a slot that's locked. So, but you should try it out for yourself, because the single player missions are very fun, to where you're like, wait, this needs to be the full game, not and it's kind of surprising like how good the single player missions are when they're really there as sort of a training or tutorial for the multiplayer. But this game has been very successful. And so curious to see maybe what kind of updates it will get if we get more single player stuff. That would be awesome. The main things I like about it is it feels like I am in the Evil Dead world. As much as people didn't like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the most recent Battlefront 2, after all the patches and updates, EA actually, or DICE, made a really good Star Wars simulator. And the Evil Dead, the game reminds me of that. It's an Evil Dead simulator. You choose from the different survivors from the series, the different locations all from the series, like where the cabin is. You can walk through the cabin. It has everything there. You can walk around outside. The Oldsmobile is there. The attention to detail, the graphics, the weapons that you see, it's like being in an Evil Dead simulator. And I like game development, and in the past I've modded here and there very lightly, but like this is an example of a game that there's an urge in me to mod the Evil Dead game and actually make it where it has like a more of a campaign, a single player story driven campaign. Because that's the thing, the action is awesome. And no, this would be a bad comparison, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The Avengers game, like that game just wasn't good, but the combat was there. And I think that the relation I'm giving it with the Evil Dead game is that this combat is actually really good, like better than Avengers combat. And in the game itself that it's in is actually pretty good, but the fighting mechanics, the combat system itself is what elevates the game. They need to do more with it. It's hard to give this a review because it's a multiplayer game. It's not like a full-priced game either, but it has a lot of content. It's totally worth it, in my opinion. If you like playing multiplayer games and if you like melee combat, this is a great game. If you like The Evil Dead, this is a must-buy. That's how I see it. Or if you're a fan of horror games, this is good because it is scary even when you're playing multiplayer. They did a good job. I mean, the single player, like I said, the single player missions are surprisingly fun. So, that's that. Let's see. What was the next topic? Yeah, Sonic 3. Okay, or not Sonic 3, but about Sonic 3. So Sonic Origins just released. It's my type of thing, right? It's basically all the old Sonic games, 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and CD, all in one package, where it's still the same graphics, but 16:9, so widescreen. It has what they've had. So if you remember Sonic CD, it had an animation in the beginning that was really awesome. And what they've done is they decided to make each title have its own animation in that style. And you can actually play, like, what I really like about the Sonic Origins game, when you launch it, you're in a world map, and you can choose, each island is like each Sonic game, but then there's an island for museum, I guess your unlockables, and then there's an island for missions. And when you click on that, I guess the idea is you can choose any level you want to do, but you can also, which I think you can do in the regular islands anyway of each game, but what you can also do is play the story mode. It's a continuous experience from the first game and to the end of Sonic and Knuckles, and it actually has the cartoon animations throughout as cinematics. I think that's brilliant. I love it. you hear a lot of people online say there's no need for this. We've already had this, but I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of re-updating older games along the way if you're adding new stuff, because there's a progression system now. There's a currency, but it doesn't necessarily work like microtransactions. As far as I know, I pre-ordered the special edition, which was a good price, and it comes with everything. So I don't know, but you get there's actually coins that you can spend on things. I haven't tried doing that yet, but I just know as you play the game and you beat levels and you do the challenges, you get the coins. You can use the coins to buy stuff that you use in the museums, whatever. And it's really good. If you're a Sonic fan, it's totally worth playing. If you're not a Sonic fan, I don't know. I really don't know. Because I even like the 3D games, even though I can understand that some of them are just not good. But one thing, what's very interesting, is I forget when this was, maybe the early 2010s or late 2000s. There's rumors on the internet about Michael Jackson, that he had made music for Sonic 3 and that Sega wanted to then kind of bury that because of the allegations against Michael Jackson at the time. But there was nothing that confirmed it. It almost seemed like one of those fake internet myths, and but it was just interesting because they would play a sample from Sonic 3 and then they would say, this sounds like something Michael Jackson would make, and you can see the comparisons. But then there's some songs, like the end credits theme for Sonic 3 is a Michael Jackson song just played at a faster pace, but it's a song Michael Jackson released later, after Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And so it's very interesting that almost confirms it, unless it's just that much of a coincidence, or maybe that's what maybe started this myth. But no, Yuji Naka, the original creator of Sonic, has confirmed that was the case, that they did make music. Because the other thing that kind of ties this all together is that in Sonic Origins, in Sonic 3, there's music that was changed to their prototype music that they were going to use for the stages instead of the Michael Jackson music. So the fact that they've swapped music further confirms that. Although one song wasn't necessarily a Michael Jackson song, it was an Ice Cap Zone song that was basically kind of ripped of a 80s new wave song. So it's not all. I don't think it all has to do with Michael Jackson, but there must be licensing then that's involved in that case. I don't know, because I don't know then about previous times Sonic 3 has been released, or it could have been back then people weren't paying attention to that stuff, and now they are. And it might be less licensing, as in, yes, you can use it, but more of, there was drama behind it. I don't know. I find all that very fascinating. And there is some videos people have made on YouTube where they've gone into more of a deep dive over this. And it's just very interesting because as much information as there's out there, there's nothing that's a confirmation. And even when you watch these videos of people trying to piece together this sort of controversy between Michael Jackson and Sonic 3 songs, you're still not totally convinced. It's pretty interesting. But hey, this does it. And yeah, like I was saying, the game is very good. Again, it's Sonic. If you don't like Sonic, you might not care. I don't know. I'm curious about that. I'm curious about people that don't really care, I guess, or I should frame it differently. For those that haven't really played old school Sonic games before, can you go back and have fun with them? Because there's some recent ones that have been released that play like old school ones, like Sonic Mania, and that did well. Sonic Generations, even Sonic Colors, and even Sonic Forces had some side-scrolling levels. And that's the thing. Even though Sonic sometimes gets a lot of hate because of the video games, there have been some bad ones. I think that's made people overlook good ones, like The Lost World. That's a great Sonic game. It was first on Wii U, which that could have been the problem, but then released on Steam. That is an excellent Sonic game. It plays different than most. And then even Sonic Forces, that was one that I just largely ignored because I was thinking, okay, all Sonic games are bad, but I played that recently, and that's actually a good Sonic game. So it's very weird how the Sonic games don't have the prestige in terms of your Sega, top tier game developer, historically comes out with a Sonic game. You would think it would be the bee's knees, but then I look at some things like Microsoft and Halo. They come out with their new Halo, or when Star Wars came out with the Battlefront 2, they didn't necessarily do everything they could to make it the most amazing game ever. They just made something that looks good and has hype around it with a known IP. I wonder if there is an element of reducing budget to where gameplay mechanics are revolutionary, or you have the kind of cookie cutter project manager developer just executing on the game plan, and there's not like more interesting elements that are introduced with these games. Yeah, I wonder if it has to do with corporate budgets and all that. I find that very interesting. Anyway, yeah, Origins is out, and I got it on Steam, but I think it's available everywhere else anyway. All right. Okay, so Sniper Elite 5. I never played a sniper game until 3, and I don't even know why I bothered playing 3, because a game called Sniper Elite does not seem like a game I would play. But I remember when I played Sniper Elite 3, back when it came out, I was amazed by the openness of it and how I didn't have to snipe all the time, although it kind of helped. And another thing about it too, it had like co-op too, and I was like, man, this game is like kind of revolutionary in a way in the gameplay mechanics, and I loved it. And then sure enough, Sniper 4 came out, and a ton of fun with that. And then just recently the Sniper 5, and it just it's very interesting because these games seem kind of like the basic, like this is what the game is, and you kind of know what it is going in. But there's enough little unique things with Sniper 5 that makes it so worth playing. It's like they're taking what we're comfortable with, but making enough modern updates to it to make it worth playing through again. So we have the Sniper Elite 5, every level. I would say the best way to explain this, if you're familiar with the latest Hitman trilogy, is Rebellion, the developer, probably saw the latest Hitman game, decided to take some of those elements in and put it into the Sniper formula, even though the Sniper formula also has its own thing. And they just work together. All this really does is it actually just gives your character even more options than before. There are times where I'm on a map and I'm being stealthy, I'm doing the best I can, and then I'm just messing up and like, you know what, I'm going to go all guns blazing. And then I go all guns blazing. And what this game does really well, especially this iteration of it, because each map are these giant open worlds, you have areas where you can like mess up, but then you can kind of run away for a while, do something else. And so it's like you can run away and be safe in a way. I don't know how to explain it compared to the other ones, but what I like about it is there's some situations where I get myself into a situation that I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to die, because you can die easily in this. It's not supposed to be run and gun, but you can play it run and gun if you're smart. Just find some good cover, use traps, and use the environment, or even like things you have on you like bottles and stuff, or make explosions happen to kind of distract enemies, make them go in different directions. And the game makes me feel like I am in an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie, or like it's just, there's times where I'm not sniping and I have my machine gun and I'm just going down corridors, taking out these guys that were not even really in the area, but I did something somewhere to cause the enemy to kind of look around. So then I am playing a very specific scenario that won't always happen on this map. I just happen to be at a certain place on the open world map that I triggered an event to cause the enemy to come in on me. And then because the way the maps work, there's a lot of vertical, there's a lot of places you can hide and move around. I'm trying to like run away from the bad guys, jump over things, hide, throw a grenade over there, shoot some guys over here. Notice some other guys are coming this way, so I'm going to use cover to. And I think because the game is so open and has so many things you can do in it, that moment to moment you can make decisions that work, and they seem so awesome that you're just a badass in the game. Just some examples. There's levels with like some broken buildings, and I remember running through them, and then I accidentally triggered some guys over there, so I was able to jump from one window to another and then go down. And then I noticed that you can kind of tell where enemies might be coming from, so they were going to come in my direction. So I'd like booby trap a body, go around, and then start sniping the guys as they went to where they thought I was. There's just so much to it. But what's cool is it adds this invasion mode that you might be familiar with because it's in Dark Souls, all the Souls games really, and it works really well because as you're playing, it tells you you've been invaded and you don't know where the enemy is. You can use a phone, and so can the invader, to see where you are, but you'll see where each other are at, but just at that moment until you like run into a direction, but you still have to hunt them down. But what's cool about it is the maps are so big that I could still go about my mission while this person's hunting me. It's just I have to be mindful that there is this enemy player, but they blend in as any other enemy on the map. That's what makes it cool. It's just more like as you're playing, there's just going to be an enemy that will be tougher than normal, so treat all enemies the same. And what will happen, though, is I could easily die. Like, I could be like where I think I'm good, I'm just doing about my thing, and I get sniped, I get killed right then and there. But then when the game loads, I'll be like maybe 30 seconds from where I died. They do a really good job of that. And what will happen is, too, you can choose to just load it again for the invader as well. So then the invader loads in also. So they really do a lot to give so many options on how to play the game. And again, it has a progression system. You level up. You have points that you can put on certain skills. I've already maxed them. And while I don't think I think it could have been deeper, because you can really max everything before beating each mission or before beating the end game. And I mean, there's stuff you need, but you kind of get them pretty quickly, like an additional grenade or additional ammo, stuff like that. Or where when you heal yourself, you can use a bandage, like when you get knocked down. Little things like that are not too big of a deal, where they could have left that out. So it almost seems like, surface level. Here's some RPG elements. That and yeah. So I beat the game, and then there was this 10th mission, but it's locked. You had to buy it. Luckily, it was on sale. I think I spent $6, so that was okay. And it was actually a really fun mission that I could go in and play differently again. And yeah, it's really fun with this game because the maps are huge. And as you're playing, each objective, there's not only multiple ways to do objectives, but then there's side objectives and multiple, or optional, and multiple ways to do those. And as you play a map, there's multiple points on the map that you can unlock a starting location. So when you want to play again, you can start specifically where you want, so that then you can go to whatever objective you need to work on, whatever collectible. There's about 20 hidden items in each map that you need to find. So there's a lot to do, and every time you play, it's completely different, especially if you're upgrading all your stuff and you go back to the beginning. You're going to have more techniques you can use for certain objectives. Really good game. Amazing game. I'm glad they've made a 5th. This is the same developer that does the Zombie Army games. The 4th one came out, I think that was 2020, and then it had the Switch version and DLC that came out in 2021, which the DLC in 2021 was probably my most played game in 2021. The DLC for the Zombie Army game, Zombie Army 4, they made it like the Sniper Elite 5 maps, where they're huge. They're almost like open world, and you run around to do the objectives. I just can't wait for them to come out with the Zombie Army 5. Rebellion does a good job with these games. And another thing about these games is, as fun as they are and as good as they are, you can tell they're not like AAA Ubisoft or EA games. They feel like back on the original Xbox or Xbox 360, playing a third-person shooter that is so fun. And that's this. In fact, like, it's not like it is. No, it is absolutely amazing. But what I mean is, it's not like an EA polished game on top of amazing gameplay. You can tell it's kind of double A here and there, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, mid-tier. But I think it just proves how good they are at the the implementation of the gameplay mechanics and not having to inflate budgets for little things that don't matter. Just kind of like when it comes to maybe some animations, some of the graphics, although in general the graphics are fantastic. It could be that there's those certain things that big budget publishers pump money into that these smaller developers know they shouldn't do that. That way they can release a product that is just super fun with the mechanics. Because as I'm playing, there's absolutely nothing about the game where I'm like, that's annoying. Or, oh, I have to do this. No, I mean, when I jump in and play, it reminds me of when I'm jumping in to play a match of Tetris or Luminous or any of those, any like a puzzle game where it's like you know what you can do and you're going to do it and you're going to have fun. You don't have to like sit through. They don't do, dialogue, or when you're traveling on the map too, it's open world. There's no, what do you call it? Teleportation. You know what I mean? Fast travel. But you don't need it. It's like the map is huge, but you can get to where you want rather quickly. They do a really good job with the scale on that. So anyway, I got to say that is an excellent game. I think it's amazing because I got my new PC in April, and it's since then the Evil Dead, Sniper Elite 5 have come out, games that I've been really wanting to play, and both of those run great. I've been able to get, due to the monitor and the setup I have, 144, 120 to 144 frames. It really depends on the game if it unlocks to that. With max settings, I haven't had anything run bad, and it's just been a great time, I guess, with the summer to be gaming, really. And then, obviously with the Sonic, that doesn't need, any powerful hardware, but that game is definitely fun. So anyway, I would suggest picking up Sniper Elite. I think this was also Game Pass. When I say also, it's because TMNT was Game Pass, but I want to say Sniper Elite was on Game Pass, but it's worth buying. I love that, this and like TMNT are available on Game Pass PC. It's awesome. It's a game I'd buy anyway, but the fact that it's there for download is awesome. All right, moving on. Shredder's Revenge. So this game is even better than I thought it was gonna be, because I like these old school beat 'em ups, but in modern times there has to be enough modern mechanics implemented to keep my attention. Like Streets of Rage 4, I had fun with that, never beat it. Sometimes if I don't beat a game, it kind of tells me, like, did I really like it, even though I did? And sometimes maybe you don't need to play the whole thing to enjoy your time. But with this one, they did the same thing that we see from Sonic Origins. Even though these are different types of games, when you play Shredder's Revenge, it has the mode where you can just play arcade mode, where you're just going through the game, or you can play story mode. It has an overworld map. And that you're in the van and you can go around wherever you need to and go to the different levels. Like, they do exactly what a modern game would do. Very similar, I guess, to like Scott Pilgrim. I want to believe, same developer, and having the overworld map. What the game is like is it plays exactly like the arcade game, just very greatly refined. That's 1989 about. So this is 2022. So it's greatly refined during that time period. But it also seems to be kind of a mashup of all of those games. So they had the arcade game, they had the Manhattan game, I forget what that was called. They had the Hyperstone Heist on Genesis. And it seemed to take all of those, the best elements, put them together. Even with the music is also really, really, really well done. And they makes it sound like the music from the old games. They even have like the theme songs that are done by some more modern artists. So there's singing as well. And so the story mode's pretty cool because as you go, you're actually leveling up your characters. And as you level them up, you're really just unlocking more moves, more tools to have for when you go back and want to play again. It allows you to then get challenges that are done on every level. See, this is getting to be just like Sonic Origins. They both have challenges you do. As you play, you unlock things. And it's separate. That's a story mode that's separate from like an arcade mode or mission mode where you're really just playing the levels as you want or trying to go through the challenge of beating it without losing your lives. I'm all for this. Both games, I think, were priced excellent. In fact, TMNT is on, Shredder's Revenge is on Game Pass, so that makes it even easier. But sometimes developers can let you down with a game they release, but sometimes you could be shocked how they turn out. And TMNT, again, is another game that's completely worth playing. It's on Game Pass, so it's free for anyone that's paying for Game Pass. And yes, Game Pass on PC, which is awesome. So yeah, I would totally suggest this game. Now, yeah, another part of it is it's actually 6-player. And you can do 6-player, I think, on Xbox and PC, but not on like Switch or PS3. Or PS5. I could be wrong about that, but I remember there's some you can and can't. Now, I've played the 6-player online, and that is such an amazing time. This game is a game that when you play 6-player, you don't have to pay attention. But if you're paying attention, you can have fun with it. And what I mean is you can kind of button mash, lose your character. The other people are button mashing, losing their characters, using their powers. You're killing the bad guys anyway. But if you want to pay attention, you can target certain enemies you want to go and fight and do the moves. But what this lends to is when people are playing 6 players on, you can just talk. Everyone can just talk and not be distracted. Now, that could be a skill I lack, is when I play games, sometimes when I'm playing online, I'm not talking a lot because I'm focusing. I've been getting better at that as I've been streaming games online more. But like when I was playing this, though, I was just talking with my brothers. We were just talking a whole bunch. And there were some friends of my brother that was on too. So that's how we got the group of 6. And we were just having a great time. I mean, it really just got to a point where we were just done. If we stayed there, we could have just went through and beat the game. So yeah, anyway, that is totally worth it. So yeah, that brings us, to the end of this podcast. Really, I just wanted to catch everyone up with Evil Dead the game, Sniper Elite 5, Sonic Origins, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, and it's just the past few months of playing games has been so fun. After Elden Ring, right? There's been all these other fun games to play, and almost where there's not enough time to like fully enjoy them. Like again, I haven't beat the Evil Dead, or no, I have. You don't beat it; it's multiplayer. So I haven't played a lot of the Evil Dead because it lends itself to multiplayer. I have beat Sniper Elite 5. I have beat TMNT. There's that. There's another game that came out around the same time of Elden Ring, or a little after that, Strangers in Paradise. And I, Final Fantasy, and I actually like the combat in that. I was playing it, I thought it was fun. I just haven't had time to get back to that because the Evil Dead game came out, and that's more of what I want to play. And then TMNT came out, and that grabbed my time. There's another game that is really awesome. Let me see if I can bring up, because I think it's in the... I don't want to spend too much time trying to think of the name and have dead air. Let me launch Steam so I can look at that. Okay. Selaco, Selaco, there's a demo of this on Steam. And you've probably heard of the term boomer shooter, which is pretty silly. Of a term, but this like takes that sort of look, style, and makes it modern and makes it so fun. This is a good example of why I don't play through demos. If I'm interested in a game, I won't play the demo. Like if I know this is a game I'm going to get and play it anyway, I just don't play the demo because I want to then, when it's out, focus all my time on the final product. If there's a game that looks interesting or someone says, hey, check out the demo, like my brother did with this one, I will try it. And I was playing this game and having so much fun, I stopped. I was like, I cannot wait for the final release. And when does it come out? So I'm going to go to store page here real quick in Steam. Yeah, Selaco. So search that on Steam. Amazing game. Full release in 2255. Okay, I'm not joking. It says full release in 2255. So I'm sure they're just messing around. Let's see if maybe something in... No, there's no other details about it. I'm gonna have to look that up because this is a game I would compare it to, like, there's Proteus is a recent game that's kind of like the boomer shooter style thing, and that was really fun, but it was too much of the same. And then this is a brand new original shooter running on GZ Doom, so I think that's a development of maybe part of the Doom engine. So think about a certain engine that's been around for so long, people know how to do whatever they want in it. And that's what makes this game, let me actually, let me share that. Share the screen. Just looking at it here. Oh, and they even got a Patreon. I'm curious to see that. But you can kind of see it. Well, it might be hard to see some of the gifts they have here. Yeah, there's the sliding around, and I guess you can kick people, and it's very gory, even though that's like purple. But it's so good. So, okay, they've got this. Select a membership. What do you get? You get name as a supporter, follow development through GitHub commits. So that's something that I'm not familiar with, so I wouldn't know. Patreon-only Discord channel is pretty cool because maybe you can work with the dev on that. So there's the 5 to 10. And so how long does this go? Like, this is interesting because you're paying per month for a game that's in development. Let's see. The top tier, the $20 tier, full game access on release. That's cool. Naming credits as founder, digital art book. But do you join as an A security commander and get some really sweet bonuses? This tier nets you the full game on release in your name. But I wonder if it's like, oh, here we go. Exclusive mug after 3 months, exclusive poster after 6 months, exclusive t-shirt after 9 months, exclusive hoodie after 12 months. So there's even more down here. Holy moly. And they're making quite a bit. That can pay for a salary for someone to make the game, although I'm sure there's a team behind this. It's being created by, there's 2 studios, Altered Orbit Studios and Satsuma Digital. What is it? Satsuma Digital. Very, very interesting going about this. I've never really seen this before where Patreon is used, because you can essentially be paying, math is hard for me, but do 80 times 12. Wait, what's this? Draw a safe for work children doodle that will be used in game. Interesting. Name in the credits as super patron. Huh. Anyway, that is pretty interesting because that, I don't know. I'm just killing time talking about this really, but it's like paying monthly for a game, and then when it's out, what do? Do you cancel, or as long as it's up, people are still going to pay? Like, that is interesting. Anyway, that's it for, I think, episode 61 of the Blue Gamer Bluecast. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, I will keep this up. I've got motivation now to do it. Hopefully, we'll also have a guest host on it. Not a guest host, an actual permanent additional host on here. That would be really cool. So hopefully we get that situated.